Welcome back to the channel. Thank y'all for hanging with me on this Tuesday. So this is the time of year where shallow could be the winning pattern. Deep is going to be coming on stronger. It could be the winning pattern. So a lot of times bouncing back between shallow and deep is going to be your best bet. If you're fun fishing, tournament fishing, whatever it is, the biggest fish can be in either depth ranges. If you have lakes that have good places for the fish to go, both shallow and deep. So I think it's very important to note that like early spring, you're going to have fish that are going to get on stuff and it's going to be pretty solid until those fish start spawning. And then those areas are going to be dwindling away. And those post-spawn places that can also have pre-spawn spots are going to become good. And then you have these in-between spots that are more towards the end of spring here in the Southeast, like the month of April. I typically start seeing fish show up on these places that they also use around August, September when they're heading from deep to shallow. So it seems like there's these in-between spots, shallow to deep, that they really get on. It's the biggest fish on the lake. You're going to catch your best bags on those type places. And then there's nothing on those places for 3 or 4 months till they head back shallow and start chasing bait for the fall time. Now, what I think is very important when you get in this period where everything's kind of in limbo, you don't really have a super strong portion or depth range of the lake, you have to bounce back and you have to fish fast. Now, I do understand you're going to have days where it's no wind, high sun, not a cloud in the sky. And for that reason, you're going to have to fish slow and something on the bottom. But in order to find the best places this time of year where everything seems like it is on the move, I think it's very important to not necessarily have just a frog tied on, but have a frog like this where you can reel it fast and cover a big area 5 times quicker than you can with your normal poppin' frog or your normal standard size frog. So I keep a couple of these baits, especially when I'm fishing around grass or heavy cover, but these are great for any time you need to cover a bunch of water shallow, looking for your flipping pattern or your swim jig pattern or some techniques that you can really slow down, maybe drag a soft plastic Texas rig or something on the bottom. But you need something on those cloudy days, on those little windows of opportunity where you are going to have a good feeding period, cover water fast. So this last tournament, I was throwing a Big Easy. The Big Easy, I rig it up on a 5/0 Superline hook. And this is basically an old school technique that we do down in Florida. We call it a weightless swim jig. Everyone does it. It's basically just like rigging up a solid swim bait, putting a 16th ounce weight on it and a bobber stopper. I think that punch skirt that you use typically for punching works really well on this rig. And this is great for covering water super shallow around heavy cover. So here on Guntersville, we have a lot of hydrilla and milfoil and eelgrass and coontail. Other places you may have bushes or overhanging trees or laydowns, water willow, whatever it may be. But covering a lot of water is important because you never know where you're going to catch your next fish. Then when the conditions change, your tournament rolls around, you have general areas where you can slow down in them. And that's when you can flip your jig like I was doing two weeks ago in that tournament, and really punch and slow down and fish that way. But as far as getting a really good feel for big areas is important because those fish are going to be moving with the bait. The bluegill are going to be coming in. They're moving. They're getting ready to spawn. And you have a lot of transitions for all species of fish. For that reason, breaking it down and getting to the little sweet spots on the big areas is super important. That's why this Teckle Sprinker frog is going to be a major player. Now, I will say one thing about this bait. Now, this is something, anytime I'm looking for fish that are relating to thicker, heavier grass, this is a bait that I throw. I will say this style of bait, and there's a couple companies that make this, it's basically a frog that you reel across the water quickly, and it has some gurgle and bubble trail coming off the back of it. My hookup percentage with this is horrible, like so bad that I just use this to get some fish to blow up, and then I have a general idea where they're at. In the tournament, I feel a lot more confident that I'm going to catch something on this if it bites. Now, I did have one bite in the tournament, and I missed it on this, but I did catch one in practice on this, and it kind of keyed me in gave me a waypoint that I came back to a day or two later and caught some fish on it. But the big thing with these baits, not so much you're going to catch a bunch of fish on them. This one I don't even throw in the tournament, but it is a useful tool for me anytime I'm looking. So the better hookup percentage though is this 50-pound braid, same rod you're going to throw a frog on. If you want to throw the smaller one, the Easy Swimmer, I go down to a 5-aught. I go to a 5-aught Superline extra wide gap Gamakatsu hook on the Easy Swimmer. 6-aught on this. You could even go down to a Skinny Dipper. I do a 4-aught on the Skinny Dipper. And then one of these punch skirts. These are for punching. I don't use a punch skirt. Punching when the water gets above 60 degrees, that's strictly a cold water thing for me. But once that water warms up, I'm taking these punch skirts off and I'm putting them on what we down in Florida call a weightless swim jig. Great way to find those sweet spots. Try that, guys, anytime you're fishing around a lot of cover when you have fish that are constantly moving. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.